tuning in. This radio is here in the garage, but it's supposed to be outside in the Yukon. Want to know what happened? Let's find out. Hey Dan, run that intro!
Now before we pull the radio out, there's two important things I want to let you know. First thing you want to do is power it up and hit this button. See what it says? No disc inserted. You want to make sure you don't have any CDs in here. And you also may want to write down your favorite radio stations if you have them programmed. That way when you put the new radio in, you can reprogram it the same way. That way you won't have any issues. If you don't care, just pull it out. So up the fuse block under the hood, this is the fuse we need, so I pulled it out. I used a little wire to extend it, and I used the meter to check and make sure which side was hot, because we're going to use this little wire jumper here. So it adds a circuit, so this will go in the original area of where the fuse was. This one will still protect that original circuit, but then this top one is where we're going to get our feed from. So I found a nice grommet back here on the firewall because we want our wire to be protected, and I used this little pick to make a hole, and then I fed a wire hanger through, and it's on the other side, so we'll tape the wire to this and then pull it through, and our wire will be safe in a grommet. And there is the end of my hanger on the inside of the truck. If anybody has a better idea on how to get wires through grommets when there really is no access, please let me know. Haha, I've won. Okay, so now I'm basically just going to connect it to this wire when I'm ready, but not until everything in there is done. But this is done, so we'll run the wire up around the back somewhere underneath here, make sure it's safe, but we're going to tape both these ends off and not connect it until we're done. Alright guys, let me show you what I'm using and I'll show you how it works. So this is Centec 3/16 fiberglass wire running kit. So it's a thing electricians use, and it has these fiberglass sticks. They look like this, and they're pretty stout, but they are a little flexible too. So you have a hook on the end of this one. There's usually another end. So I did drop the back headliner because we had to do the wires for the camera through here. This is actually the plug we need that I'm working on in the kitchen. But you see I left the front headliner up, and what I was able to do with these fish sticks is I went ahead and put it inside the headliner here, right up alongside the airbag, because that seems like a great idea. And I did take down the grab handle, and I pulled out this panel, and I pulled off the weather stripping here. All that'll go back on. And what I was able to do was to get the fish stick out here to the front. So now what I can do is I can attach the wire to this or at the back and then pull it through, and then I'll just run the wire down there and get it into the dash. And over there with the radio, we already have the power wire from over there. I do need to run that power wire all the way to the back, so I'll probably run the wires from here. I'll connect the power wire and the RCA, and then as you pull this out, it'll pull through the entire length. The entire length all the way to the back there. And then you just disconnect them as you're pulling them through. And when you get your last one through, here's your wires with the tape. Now you'll notice I did not put the signal wire and the power wire together. You really want to keep these as far away apart as possible. Now I am using a really good RCA line, which should have very good shielding. And this is a real small power wire, so it's a trigger wire really to power up the converter that converts the 12 volts to 5 volts that'll go back to the camera. So it's not a real big draw, it's like 0.025 amps or something like that. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Anyway, that's why I didn't tape these together. If you're doing multiple wires, it's best to tape them together like a wire loom. They'll pull through easier, they'll be protected. And of course, like I said before, we have the airbag up here. So we want to make sure that these wires are away from the airbag, not wrapped around it or underneath it at all, where it's going to impede it from blowing if we ever need to, which hopefully we won't. So now you just untape this, run it where you need to in the back, run it where you need to in the front. Next thing we're going to do is pull the radio out and get all the wires connected back there. Alright, so here's the mess. We've still got these two wires because I'm working them through the dash and into here. So I got the radio pulled out. So here's the RCA line, and what I did was I took an RCA joint and I just cut it and I wired that into the factory radio plug. So now it'll plug into the radio just like factory, and we get the wires coming out. And then we have the original wires for the radio. Those will plug back in, the antenna, and we're going to put one of those GPS antennas in. And for that, I have to pull out this front panel, and it goes under that little blip there. So let's get that off and see what it looks like. Alright, here's a little halftime show. So up under this is the GPS antenna. I put it in there, and the wire comes out here. That's one of the ones I got from the junkyard. We have the antenna wire here, the two stock radio wires here. We have the RCA here with that plug. I'm going to tape this up, and then we're going to go ahead and put everything back together here, and we'll be in good shape. If you're working on one of these trucks, you want to know how this works, there's just these poppers, so you pop it up at the ends. It is locked underneath the sides, so this one I couldn't really get out. Plus, you have this, which I guess has a wire underneath. I guess it's for the bright lights, to raise and lower your bright lights, or maybe it's something else, I don't really know. And then that side, of course, I have this piece out, so that came up, but I'm just going to pop that back down, and we're going to go ahead and button this all up, and then we'll work on the wires, and we'll get them up and over where they need to go. We'll neaten them up going all the way to the back, and then we'll put all this stuff back together, make that look nice, put the rubber weather strips back up, and then this will all be set, and all the wires will be sticking out the back, and we'll deal with that later. Alright, so now I got everything buttoned back up here. I don't have the trim panel oven yet, but I wanted to do a first test live and see if it even works, because I've never even tested this radio. So hopefully the thing even works. I guess this is, ooh, look, theft lock. Uh-oh, that's probably not a good sign. Does that mean the radio's stolen and I can't use it? Oh no, it doesn't work. Well, now we're in trouble, kids. What do we do? Okay, so the theft locked. I just did some research, and it turns out these vehicles, every single part of this vehicle has an ID on it that matches the VIN. This does not match my VIN, and I'm going to have the dealership reprogram this to know that it's my truck now. So it's not that it's stolen, I bought it legit, but I will need to have it recoded. Since I'm not ready with the entire system, I'm going to pull this back out for now. I'm going to wire everything in the back of the truck, and then we'll go ahead and put this back in, and we'll go to the dealership, and I got my buddy over there who's going to help me reprogram everything and get it working. So let's take this back out, put the stock radio back in for now, and get back to that wiring. Alright, so here's the final shot. The original radio is back in. It should work fine. I have the wires all nice and neat. You can't see them. They're not in the way of the airbag. And then you get to the back. And we have the two wires coming out the back now. And they're just down here with the chairs for when I'm selling cars at car shows. And back to the beginning, we still have the wires hanging here, which I got to figure out which one is power and which one is camera. There's a light blue and a dark blue. Once I figure those two out, I think the red is power, 12 volt. I don't know if that needs to be switched or not, so I'm still trying to figure these wires out. I have everything else figured out, and then we can go ahead and put that back on. We'll put the module up here somewhere, and then we'll be able to put all this back together, and we should be done. Alright, so the backup camera system is done. And as we know, it has theft lock, and I had it at the dealership for a while, and no go. So they tried to reset the computer to accept the camera and the system, and it wouldn't work because the radio is a 2010 and the truck is a 2007. So since this radio was never offered in this truck, the computer will not see it. So they said they could try to work a bunch more hours and charge me by the hour, and it may never work. So I said, well, give it a try. So they gave it a try, and it locked up the radio. So the radio can still be used in a 2010 or newer. So if you have a 2010 or newer, what is this, Yukon or Cadillac Escalade or whatever, Chevy Tahoe, and you won't need and want a nav radio, this may be yours. So email me at DansgarageNC@gmail.com. For now, I do have a plan B. That's going to be coming out on a future video. But for now, I'm going to pull this radio out, put the regular stock radio back in, and hope it works. So let's see. Oh, yeah, I'm going to clean up all that too, because who knows how long it'll be before I get to the next step of this process. Alright, so radio's back in. Let's hope it works, because I'm kind of concerned that Obviously the clock is going to be wrong, but hopefully they didn't mess anything up. Oh, all right, there's music. I don't want to put music on or else they'll shut me down on YouTube, but let's go ahead and put the, what is this thing? The bezel back on. There goes my air suspension. And we'll see what it looks like when I'm done doing nothing. There's the final look with the bezel back on. Finally feels nice to have completion in here, but we failed. Okay, so we didn't fail, I failed, but I had good intentions. And you know how sometimes you think there's the right way to do things or there's the wrong way or the cheap, easy way? I thought I was doing it the right way, putting all OEM components in the vehicle. My problem was I didn't think far enough or do enough research to realize that I needed probably components from all the same year. Could I go ahead and get a radio from 07 and make that work? Possibly, but at this point, like a lot of people have said along the way, I got a lot of time and money invested in this system. I could probably just sell all the parts I bought and go ahead and just get an aftermarket camera. So that's probably what I'm going to do. So look for future episodes on that. If anybody is seriously interested in buying this radio, I'll put the numbers up here now and show you the plugs on the back. It is out of a 2010. I think it was out of a Cadillac, or it might have been out of a Yukon. So any 2010 or newer vehicle that has this type of radio, it's got nav, it's got satellite availability, obviously backup camera, and your vehicle just has to be programmed for it. So if you have one that is broken and you want to replace it, this should probably work fine. Email me at DansgarageNC@gmail.com. Offer me a fair price and it's yours. I also have a ton of other parts that I'm not using now. I got a GPS antenna. I got a couple extra backup cameras. I got a bunch of wiring, some modules, a GPS module actually. So all that stuff is for sale. I'll probably put it up on the Dan's Garage Facebook page, I think. I can't use Marketplace, but I can put it on that. Or I'm sure you've seen it in the videos again. If you guys see anything I have that you want to buy, let me know. Not my red Chevelle, though. So I guess that's pretty much it for this episode. Watch for a few future episodes on this sucker and that sucker. I'm going to be opening the box later today. So all of my social media will be following that. So go to TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or here on YouTube, I'll be putting up shorts. So until next time, thanks for watching. Stay positive and keep on wrenching.